Poodle chapter. Poodle chapter. Poodle chapter. Poodle chapter. Poodle chapter.
We got the report victory. Oh yeah, we're classically about to get down. Turtles on the board right now, just like that tomato mound. Something's gone down, or by them, now we're headed down. We're going to the march seat.
Poodll Chapter. Poodll Chapter. Poodll Chapter. Poodll Chapter. Poodll Chapter. Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
Hello, everyone. Good morning. We are just about to start. I want to thank you for being here. We will begin with the doxology and some prayer. But I remind you to please join us to the Moodle site. That's mood.nefilaweb.com.ph. Now we will proceed with the doxology. Okay, hello everyone. Good morning, good night in other parts of the world. I am Christian Duque. I'm Business Development Officer of Nefila Web. And I'm very happy and very thrilled to be here in this webinar, which is a preparation for our big event, the Moodle Philippines 2021 online. which you can already start checking out, visiting. There's already webinars, content, activities. You can go to moodph21.nefilaweb.com.ph. If you are watching us on Facebook or on YouTube, you will find the link on the descriptions, on the comments. We want you to please send us your questions throughout this very interesting and very exciting event. This webinar, I have to say, is a bit special for me. 2 years ago, I arrived to the Philippines, to Quezon City for the first time for the Moodle Mood Philippines 2019. And it was very special as it was. But one special thing that I remember was meeting Justin Hunt, founder and director of Poodll. And for me, it was a very fascinating meeting because I knew of Justin for a long time, and everyone who was active in the Moodle community for a couple of years most probably recognize the name Justin Hunt. He's been a very strong collaborator, contributor to the project. And one of the big news that we're about to discuss today is the integration, the certified integration status of the Poodll plugin family, which are also another way in which Justin is contributing to the Moodle project, which, as we all know, is the largest open source free LMS in the world. It's very large in the Philippines and around Southeast Asia. Yeah, it's also a very interesting technology that has evolved substantially over the years, as Justin is about to explain today. So let me just invite Justin to speak. Justin, hi, how are you doing?
Hi, Christian. Thank you very much for bringing me on the call. Very happy to be here and really looking forward to talking about Poodll to the Nefila family today.
Okay, excellent. So just before we start, just another reminder, please send us your questions, your comments. If you want to know more about Poodll, do it on the Facebook or on YouTube, or better yet, please join us on the Moodle Mood website, which is already active. We'll show a little bit at the end so you can see all the special things that await you if you log in right now. So thank you again. So Justin, you may proceed. Thank you again.
Thank you. Now I am going to share my screen right away. So I'll try to do this mainly from the screen share. And if something goes wrong, please tell me. Okay. Okay, great. So I'm hopeful that everybody can see the big screen that says Teaching Languages with Poodll, Moodle plugins for language teachers. Christian, please chime in if that's not the case and let me know. I'm going to talk today about, is it okay, Christian?
Yes, so far so good. Please go ahead.
Okay. So I'm going to talk today about Poodll and about what we can do using Poodll to teach languages. Poodll's evolved over the years. It started as an open source kind of audio and video recorder for Moodle way back in like 2011. And since that time, a lot of things have changed in Moodle, and a lot of things have changed just on the technology landscape. So some of what we see, I think we'll start with in the beginning anyway, is the simple audio and the video recording features, which are still really popular. But we'll go on and show you some of the more exciting new features that have become possible the technology that AWS and some of these other companies have provided, and the technology that is in browsers and in mobile phones today. As Christian mentioned earlier, Moodle has recently certified Poodll as a certified integration, and that's really good validation of the work that Poodle's been doing with Moodle over the years. It also should go to assure people that Poodle is going to be here in the future. So there's only 7 or 8 certified integrations in Moodle at the moment, and that shows just it's not an easy thing to be, and you can trust Poodle to be around and to be contributing back to Moodle also with our business and with our technology. Okay, so let's begin. So recently we split Poodle into 2 kind of distinct packages or families. They're Poodle Media and Poodle Languages. And we did this because a lot of people have been using Poodle for the audio and the video recording features. But then there are a lot of people who are using it simply for the language learning features, and they're quite different usages. Some people are using Poodle to record audio and video for performing arts or for music classes, or in some cases for online training. There might be, in one case we have in Australia, users are training people, construction workers, and they have to demonstrate that they can wear a hard hat. So they use the Poodle video recorder, and the student from their home or using their phone, they put on a hard hat to demonstrate they can wear the hard hat correctly. And that's a very different usage to somebody who's using Poodle to teach languages. So we split them up into two families of plugins, Poodle Media and Poodle Languages. And I'll go through and I'll talk about both of them. As I do that, I'm going to jump over to the Poodle demo site and demonstrate from the Poodle demo site at the same time. So that keeps it interesting, because if it's just me talking on PowerPoint the whole time, I'm sure you won't be as interested. So I'll just quickly check the chat as I go, make sure that there's nothing I'm missing. I can't check the chat, so I'll rely on Christian to tell me. Here's the Poodle demo.
Yeah, you can go on. So far, so good. Just let me point out to everyone hearing that if you join to the Moodle site right now, you will find a Poodle course, and you will find some examples, some tutorials that you can complete, and you can win rewards if you complete these tutorials that we're about to see.
Right. Great. So basically, Poodle Media involves audio and video recording, but it also has media players. And the reason we have players is that most of the players we have on the internet for audio in particular are designed for playing music. They're not really designed for use in the classroom. And on the right-hand side, we can see 3 of Poodle's audio players that each have a kind of a different purpose that's pedagogically designed. It's not designed to play music, it's designed for a purpose for teaching languages. On the top left, we have the shadow player, and this allows the student first to listen to a model audio, second to record themselves speaking at the same time as they hear the model audio, and finally to hear their version or their own recording back. On the top right, we have this is the Poodle multiplayer, and you can determine how many times the student can play the audio back. So if you set that to once, the student can only play the audio back once. If you set it to twice. And this is for use for simulating tests, really, because it's quite a common feature of a test that they can only hear the audio once before they respond to the question. And beneath that, we have a subtitle interactive audio player. This is useful because most of the times we have subtitles on the internet, they are to accompany videos. But in actual fact, for language learners, most of the resources that we are consuming in language learning classes are audio resources. And it's very useful to hear the audio as well as read it at the same time. I live in Japan, and learning Japanese, this is essential really, because you'll often be able to say a word or to understand a word when it's spoken, but the Chinese characters for that word may not be clear to you. And being able to read as well as to hear the passage is really good for those learners. So I'll quickly jump over that demo site and let's have a look. Come on. So when I do that, I'll lose my mouse. Hang on a second. Here we have the shadow player that we mentioned earlier. And I suspect that you can't actually hear my audio from my PC. So I'll just explain to you what's happening. When I click on the green button, we're hearing the model audio. When I click on the blue button, that will play the audio again at the same time as recording me. So I'll actually practice reading the passage simultaneously while I'm hearing it. And finally, on the third button, I'll get to try it myself. And I can see my mouse keeps disappearing as I go from screen to screen. So let's be a bit careful. Let's go back and have a look at some of these other players, though. This is the audio player with interactive subtitles. And as you can see, the 15-minute audio. If I play it, it'll track the audio as it's being played. Let's jump to a particular location there. You can see that it also jumps here. So this is the interactive part, really. As I tell the transcript, the audio jumps to that location. And as I play the audio, it goes through the transcript and highlights the passage or the part of the passage that we're currently on. We can also download that transcript later for reading if we wish to. So that's quite a useful feature for students. I guess the bread and butter of the Poodle media package is the assignments and quizzes. And these do pretty much what you'd expect, actually. The student can record audio or video, and the teacher can review that and give feedback in text or audio or video. And that's available in the assignment and in the quiz. As a teacher, you have the option to choose how you get the audio or the video submissions. Let's go and have a look at that. So here's an audio recording assignment. And when you click on the Add Submission, you get the audio recorder right there on the page. This is the demo site, so somebody's come in and tweak with it here. But the audio recorder appears on the page. The student records, and that recording shows up in the list of recordings for the teacher to review. You can also optionally have the students speaking transcribed, which is quite useful for a teacher because you can read the audio at the same time as you're grading it, which makes it faster to grade than to listen to all of the audio. Hi, I'm talking to my friends from Nafila Web and all around the world, so I hope you enjoy listening to this talk about Poodle. I can review the audio if I wish. And when I'm ready, I can upload that audio.
I'm sorry, Justin.
Yes.
I think we lost your screen.
Okay. How do we lose my screen, I wonder?
Okay, it's loading again.
Okay.
All right, it's back.
Okay. Okay, please tell me if that happens again, Christian. I guess it's something we have to think about.
Yes, of course.
So if we have a look at the submissions from the teacher's perspective, here is the audio that was just submitted by user 7, which is the user that we are logged in as. And there will be a transcript available eventually for this speaking, but it hasn't come through yet. It takes 3 or 4 minutes for that transcript to arrive. But we can see beside each of the students, their audio is listed. And if we wish, we can go in and grade the students' audio and give them a grade, basically. We can review their audio. Here's the transcript here, actually. So it's done a good job. I can play that back. I can give it a grade, 56. I can do comments if I want. This is all standard Moodle, actually, the comments. And it's also possible to set a Poodle audio or video recorder as feedback option for the teachers. Let's go and have a look at those settings. Here are the submission types. We have Cloud Poodle here. And if we go to the feedback types, again, we have a Cloud Poodle feedback option. If we enable that, we can show an audio recorder in the feedback location. Again, there's an audio recorder that allows us to give feedback to the student in audio, which is quite nice if they've recorded their own submission in audio. So that feature to record audio and video is available in both assignments and quizzes, and it's really popular actually. It's also available on the HTML editor. So Moodle has its own audio and video recorder on the HTML editor, and it's quite good, but it's also very basic. One of the best features about Poodle Media is that this Atto and TinyMCE audio and video recording integration is really full-featured. I'll show you what I mean. We have not just the option to record, but we can also upload into the same location. And that audio and that video recording is stored in the cloud. So if you have hundreds of students or thousands of students recording audio and video, that can take up a lot of space on a Moodle server. And your Moodle administrators will be able to tell you that the backup sizes for the Moodle courses become huge if there's a lot of media being uploaded by the students. But Cloud Poodle stores those in the cloud, so you don't have to worry about that. It can also transcribe the audio. So as we've seen in a transcript for the audio and the video recording in other places in Poodle, it's also available here in the HTML editor. And we even have a subtitle editor. So if you or your students subtitle their own video or their own audio, then they can go and edit those subtitles and make them perfect if they wish. And finally, we have a history tab. So if you previously recorded an audio or a video recording and for some reason it's become lost, or it's useful to be put into another location, so it's a generic feedback that you want to give different students over time, you can select that from your history tab and pop that into the HTML editor. Let's go and have a quick look at that. So here's our Cloud Poodle test forum, and I'll add a new discussion topic. I'll call this Talking with Poodle. I keep using my mouse, that's a problem. Oh, sorry. All right. So over here we have the Cloud Poodle icons on the editor, and there are three of them. There's a microphone and a camera for the video recording. There's also a widgets option. We won't talk so much about widgets today, but Poodle does have widgets for various purposes, and we'll see those perhaps another time. Or you can come here and try it out for yourself if you wish. So here's the video recorder, and pops right open. There's a nice video recorder there. And we can, I've lost my mouse again, sorry. Keep losing my mouse. What is that? Let's record something. Hi, everybody, 1, 2, 3. I can play that back. When I save that, this little dialogue here will drop down, and it's kind of foolproof, really. Students can't make a mistake. But I'll pop it open again and just show you some of the other features. If my mouse didn't keep disappearing. Okay, so let's have a look at the upload. So here's the upload tab, and we can just drag a video from our desktop onto that upload area, and it will be as though we had recorded a video. Options: we can request subtitles for the video. We can choose from the languages and the accents also. So in my case, I'll choose Australian English, which is pretty close, and then that will subtitle my audio or my video and insert the subtitled version into the editor below. And if I've already recorded a video, or in this case a video, they'll be displayed here, and I can reinsert that, should I want to, into the same area or a different one. And with audio, it's very much the same thing. We've got the audio recorder, upload, options, and history. Okay, and Poodle more recently has been working very closely with AWS. We're actually an AWS EdStart member, which is their kind of version of the Startup Accelerator. And we use their services extensively. But one of the ones that's quite useful for us as language teaching people and language learning people are the text-to-speech and the speech-to-text features. So these are the languages that we can currently manage using text-to-speech and speech-to-text. I think in most cases we can both synthesize these to create speech and also recognize them when they're spoken, which means that some of our more exciting plugins, the new ones I'm going to show you in a moment, the language plugins, they can work with these languages here. So these Poodle languages plugins that I have been talking about, I'm going to go through and explain those and demonstrate those in some detail now. There's Poodle Read Aloud, Poodle Word Cards, Poodle Mini Lesson, and Poodle Solo. And these are plugins that I wished I'd had when I was studying languages back in university myself, or even when I was studying Japanese. Because these days, the technology that is available for us as language learners is really exciting. It allows us to practice speaking, listening on our own and get feedback in an automated way that was not available to us when I was studying at university. I remember studying Russian and really having very little opportunity to practice my spoken Russian and even being able to understand what I was hearing. There weren't any resources available to me, but using tools like these, we can really give students speaking opportunities. So Read Aloud is perhaps the most well-known of our plugins. This is a reading activity. Students are given a passage to read, and we assess their reading and mark up where they need to practice or words we couldn't capture. There are 4 modes. It's listen mode, practice mode, shadow mode, and read mode. But originally there was just read mode, and read mode looks a little bit like this. The student would read and they'd get back a report on their reading, and if they wanted to, they could try again. But what we found was that students weren't really improving. They were just reading the same passage over again and basically making the same mistakes. So we introduced different modes that give the students the opportunity to focus more specifically on problem words that they're having, or phrases that they're having difficulty speaking. So, and that's the practice phase here. This is where the student gets to read line by line. They read line by line. They get a little feedback on their reading. Words that they could pronounce correctly are marked with green. Words that they could not pronounce correctly are marked with red. So let's go now and have a look at that. Lost my mouse. Come on, mouse. Careful not to lose my mouse. I think if I move it too quickly, I lose it. So I'm going to move slowly, which I should do anyway. So I've lost it. So let's try a reading passage in Russian, because I suspect that nobody on the call can speak Russian. And even though I mentioned Russian, I studied it at university for several years. I almost can't speak anything at all. People laugh at me. So, but it's a good way of practicing, seeing how it is for a native, non-native speaker to learn a language, to practice in something like Russian. So here we have a passage in Russian that we simply cannot read by ourselves unassisted because we're not good enough. So if we click the play button, it will play that for us line by line, or phrase by phrase, section by section. So in phase 2, I'm going to practice reading line by line, and you'll see that I won't do very well. Некоторые иностранцы думают. Yeah, I managed to get that one correct, which is very unusual. Что волосы медведи ходят по улицам. Okay, so I'm not doing very well. So, but you can see now, as a student, I'm going to practice those words again and try and get those correct. Что волосы медведи ходят по улицам. Yeah, I improved just a little bit. After practicing the line by line, then we go through and we read the entire passage, which, let's see how that looks. Okay. Nicoteria, inostrante, dumayu. I won't read the entire passage, but this is how it works. If we go and look at the grading, do we have one? We don't have one there. So let's go and look at an English one so we can see the grading for that. Here is a passage, The Lion, which has already been read. Let's go and see what that looks like for a teacher to review a student's work on that. Okay, so in this case, the student has read just the first sentence, and up until this point, well, they read up until this point and it stopped. And these are the mistakes that they made. As a teacher, we can spot check those mistakes, click on the word and hear the audio in that location, or we can simply listen to it and mark them correct or incorrect, manually do that. But the nice thing really is that we have these reports so we can see how well students have been doing, and it's completely automated. So students can do the reading, get instant feedback, improve their reading, and teachers can get a report on students' contributions and activities. Okay, I'll move on to the next of the languages activities. And after I've finished this word cards one, I think I'll just stop and just check if there are any questions from the audience, because I'm talking and talking and talking. Poodle word cards is a vocabulary learning activity, and we made this activity because we have people who are using Quizlet or trying to use Quizlet in Moodle, and it's great. Quizlet it's a really good thing, but in terms of Moodle, it doesn't capture the students'. We can't tell the student's done the activity, basically. We can't get a report based on how well the student has done or how long they spent on the activity. So we just simply have to trust that the students are using Quizlet and that it is working for them. But word cards has a similar purpose. It introduces new words, it reviews previously learned words, and it gives them activities. But the students' attempts on those activities are captured by the system. We can get a grade for those activities, and we can see that the student has completed them. There are 5 practice types. I think we can only see 4 here, but there are 5 practice types. Choose the answer, type the answer, listen and type, say the words, and I think listen and choose is the other one that's not listed here. But on the right-hand side, we can see 3 of those. Choose the answer, listen and type, and say the words. So this is great because we can test several students' understanding of a word pair in several different ways. Let's quickly go and have a look at a word cards activity here on the demo site. I'm going slowly because I don't want to lose my mouse. Okay, so here we have let's look at French words. So this is how a teacher sees the activity when they first come in. The student sees a slightly different view, but it's each of these cards has the word that we're learning and the definition of the word. So in this case, it's French, it's bonjour and hello. Merci and thank you, s'il vous plaît, and au revoir and goodbye. Clicking on the icon here will play the audio so we can hear how it should be pronounced. And if we click continue, we'll go and we'll begin some of those practice activities. First of all, we have a chance to review the words that have been selected. They're randomly selected from the pool to practice on. You can change the number here. It doesn't need to be 4. It could be 6, it could be 8, it could be 10. That's up to you. We just use 4 to demonstrate because it's fast. You can flip them over, check again their meanings, and choose the right one. So in this case, it's hello. I'll make a mistake. Correct. And correct. Then after each section, we get a little feedback on how we did on that particular section. Then we move on to the next learning activity. So in this case, we've selected 4 learning activities for one session. and the words that appear there won't always be the same words. But in this situation, we've got an on-screen keyboard, and that's quite good because if you're using a character set that you can't always find the keys, the accents on the E's or the or Cyrillic characters or something, then having an on-screen keyboard means the students can just tap the key on screen. But it also works with a regular keyboard. So this. I think you're right. I'll go like this. Okay, so this is the listen and type. We'll just skip through. The next practice type is not listen and type, but here we actually have to see the word, determine what the term that we are supposed to recall is, and type that in. And the final one is speaking. This is the fun one. Merci. And here we just give them a 3-star rating. If I get it wrong, if I say sausages, I won't get a good score. Bananas, bonjour. Can we go through? So that's word cards, and although we didn't see it there, one of the features of word cards is that you have the ability to review the previously learned words. So if you have several word cards activities in a course, when you do a word cards activity, you can choose some of the practice types to draw from the review pool of words. So the students are reviewing words they previously learned, which of course is important for their retention. So I'm going to check questions now. Are there any questions for me? Christian, can you check if there are any questions or anything I need to respond to?
Yes, we have a couple of questions. And again, you can please send them on the YouTube or Facebook live streaming. And if you want to know more, please join our summit page. From Susan Meiki, could students make their own vocabulary lists for the word cards? Or they always have to be submitted by the teacher?
Really good question, actually, but the answer is is a bit disappointing. Currently, the words have to be submitted by the teacher, so the activity has to be created by the teacher and the words entered by the teacher. I do like the idea of personal vocabulary lists. We just haven't got that feature yet. I think probably we will do that because I'd like to integrate personal dictionaries so that even the words that we saw in the word card session that we want to review or that the word card ascertains need to be reviewed, we keep those into a personal list that can then be reviewed in a block or something on the page or in a different location or printed so that you can practice them offline. Those are features I'd like to implement. So I think that feature is coming, but it's not here yet, Susan.
Okay, excellent. And another one, so it appears that Poodle offers sort of 3 types of activities. Is it the embedded ones on the editor, the native addition, so you can create like a regular quiz or a database with Poodle elements to it, and the dedicated Poodle activities, right?
Right.
Do any of these activities use the storage of the Moodle site, or do they always get stored on the Moodle cloud, on the Poodle cloud?
Right. Yeah, another good question, actually. There are 2 families of plugins, although it's not necessary to choose those. Basically they're available to you, either of the 2 families of activities. But the Poodle languages activities, solo, word cards, and read aloud, are from the from the cloud Poodle family, where all of the audio and the video is stored in the cloud. 2 of the assignment plugins, online Poodle assignment submission and the Poodle assignment feedback, they use classic Poodle, which stores the audio and the video on the Moodle server. Actually, the question is good, but I didn't explain it very well. So there's classic Poodle and cloud Poodle. Classic Poodle stores the audio and the video recordings on the local Moodle server. This is the original Poodle, and it still works great. And for people who are concerned about their data not leaving their Moodle site, or actually users in China often use this, the classic Poodle is the one to use because those recordings stay on your own server. That's available for Poodle Media. For the Atto editor, for the assignments, and for the quizzes, you can use classic Poodle. But you also have the option to use cloud Poodle in Poodle Media for the Atto editor, for the assignments, and for the quizzes. So you can choose. But Poodle languages, you can't choose. That's all cloud Poodle.
Yeah. Excellent. Yeah, we will touch on that back a bit at the end. You can continue. Thank you.
Okay. Right, so let's have a look at Poodle Solo. So up until now, the speech recognition features that we've seen, they relied on the Poodle system knowing in advance what the student was going to say. So if we knew the student was going to read the reading passage, the Russian reading passage, we knew the words that the student was going to say, and that's how we can check if they were correct or not. But what about for open speech, when a student is given something to talk about, for example, their weekend or their family, and we can't realistically know what they're going to say. We can't match their speaking against a predetermined passage. For that open speaking purpose, we have Poodle Solo. And this acts like an audio recording assignment where we can give them an automated grade. And it doesn't work based on the, I'll show you this actually. It doesn't work based on the content of what they say. It works on some targets that we set for the student speaking. So here are some of the targets here, the unique word total over the word's goal. So if we set a target of 40 words and they reach 40 words, they're going to get close to 100%, except that we're also checking their speaking clarity. So if we were able to pick up those 40 words, that'll be 100%. But if we only picked up 50% of them, they would get 50% of that speaking total. That calculation is here, but you can see it's adjustable by the teacher. So you can play a little bit and figure out the grading here. You can give them bonus points for a target word that is spoken, bonus points for a big word, or deductions for a spelling mistake. What does that mean? Well, there are 3 steps to the activity. The student first is given something to speak about. They prepare to speak. In this case, they're going to watch a video. And the second step, they record themselves. And they try to include the target words. They try to speak for the target time. And they try to reach the target words goals. Those are all specified by the teacher here. You can see them here and available to the student to see, so they know what they're going to be graded upon. And in the third phase, the student transcribes their own speech. So they listen to their own recording after they're finished. They type in what they believe they said, what they should have said, and then we match that transcript back against the automated transcript from their audio that was submitted. And that's how we get a speaking clarity score. It's kind of confusing, but the end result is that the student gets an automated evaluation on their speaking, and they can do open speech without the teacher needing to be present. The teacher can go in later and review, manually grade, manually give feedback if they wish, or they can leave it simply as an activity for students to complete. I won't spend too much time on that. I'll just quickly go and show you there. So here is the activities solo, whether we shouldn't go too long. This is the prompt I spoke about. The student watches the video and their task is to describe or tell the story of the video. And the next phase, they record themselves speaking, so I'll quickly do that. In this video, the Cookie Monster and the Count were counting apples. Lost my mouse. That's recorded, and then they transcribe their own speaking. And it will take a little time for the transcript to come through and for the grade to become available. I've made a mistake. I didn't actually say that. It should be picked up later when the video is, when my speaking is transcribed. It looks like it might actually be ready, so let's go and have a look. Oh, it's not ready. So until the activity has been evaluated, we'll see this little countdown. We'll come back in a minute and then we'll check what our results on that activity was. It won't be very good because I got nowhere near the target words goal or the, nor did I speak all the target words. And finally, the last activity in the Poodle languages set is Poodle mini lesson. And this was developed because we had people who were using some of our interactive widgets, but they wanted to capture evidence of the students' completion of that activity. They wanted to give the students a grade of some sort that had some meaning. And we wanted to create something that was a little bit, filled a gap in Moodle, which was the ability to do easy and fun speaking drills and listening drills. And so there are 6 item types. There's a basic multi-choice. There's a dictation chat, which is like dictation but a little bit different. We have dictation. You have speech cards, which is similar to what we saw in word cards, where the student see the word on a phrase on the card and they read it. Then we have listen and speak, which is pretty explanatory, and content page, where we can give them something to talk about or a prompt or some instruction. Let's go and have a look at that. Here's our result, actually. So we see we've got only 2 out of the 5 stars. It marked up my speech, my transcript, and said was unhappy. This is clearly something that was not in the automated transcript and wasn't captured. So I haven't done very well. If I want to see more information about my attempt, I can click on more attempt details, and I'll see the number of words I spoke, the number of unique words, long words, sentences, average sentence length, longest sentence, the number of target words that I spoke. Of the 5, I only spoke 1, and a measure of my speaking clarity. Sorry, I'm jumping around, but I'll quickly go and show you mini lesson. That'll be the last thing I'll show you today. So here as a teacher, we can also see these I'm losing my mouse. As a teacher, we can also see these tabs here: lesson items, grades, and reports. But originally, we see the student view, which is, in this case, we've got a prompt or a video to watch. I won't play the entire video, but I'll just show you the video briefly. On the next page, we've prepared a multi-choice question, and this is based on the video. So what was the lady doing at the start of the video? She was cooking bacon. Although you didn't see the video, in the end, she tried to hide the bacon from her husband who came home, and it didn't go so well. Sorry, my mouse keeps disappearing. And in the 4th one, we've got listen and speak. So this is where the student gets to hear an audio, and then they repeat what they've just heard. So perhaps you couldn't hear that, but the audio said the woman was cooking bacon. So I'll say that. The woman was cooking bacon. Great. And the next one, I'll make a mistake. So she said she started to eat the bacon. So I will try that. She started to eat the bananas. I won't get that right. She started to eat the bacon. This is listen and repeat. And you can see after I've completed the activity, the target phrase is also displayed. She started to hear someone come home. No. Okay. And on the final one, we've got a speech card. Actually, the almost final one, we have speech cards. The woman was cooking bacon. She started going home. I won't do very well. Let's skip the rest of those. And in the very final activity, we have a dictation. So when I click on the audio here, it'll be read, and I can try typing it in. do we put an activity like this together? I'll just quickly go to the final screen and show you results. How do we put an activity like this together? Well, this is a screen we saw a little bit of earlier, where we simply choose one of the activity types to add, and we enter it in. So let's try speech cards. And here I type in what I want to appear on the speech cards. And is good. I like sushi. And when it's displayed to students, we have speech cards. So it's as simple as that. And all of the activities work in the same way. The text, the audio is generated using AWS's text-to-speech. So you don't need to go and find a native speaker, and you can choose from a variety of voices. I'll finish there. I feel like I've talked at 1,000,000 miles an hour, and I've covered a lot of ground. And you may have some questions for me, or you may simply want to try it out. You can try it out if you visit Poodll.com. There'll be information about more information about what you've seen, as well as links to the demo site so that you can try it out. But the demo site is available all the time. It resets every day at resets every day at 9 a.m. Japan time, which is 8 a.m. Philippines time. That's simply here at demo.poodle.com. Please feel free to go along there, try it out, try to create activities, try to do activities, and send me a message if you have any questions or if you'd like to try a demo on your own Moodle site.
All right, thank you so much, Justin. As you mentioned, there is a lot to unpack, and 1 hour even longer will not be enough. We do have some questions, but I want to make a couple of points. And before that, just a little plug again to our site, moodph21.moodlemood.com.ph. You will find a recording of this webinar, all the previous webinars that we have done. You will find activities. You will find actually some Poodle activities for you to complete, so you can try it out yourself. And by completing them, you will be earning Moodle pesos, which then you will be able to use on the store. Maybe we can show a little bit of that today. I think that, yes, Poodle is a very powerful tool, as you mentioned at some point. It's one of those tools we wish we had when we were learning a new language. And I think it's especially particular on your focus on speaking rather than the other parts of language, right? And the goal of Poodle is to allow teachers to give students as many opportunities to speak as possible. Is that right?
That's correct, yeah. That's I think it's not the only thing you can do with Poodle, but that's certainly the one that I feel has the most benefit for teachers and for language learners. Yes,
I agree. And but yes, it's not the only thing that you can do. And in fact, I think people who know about Poodle or have heard of them, or seen them, maybe the last Moodle Moods, they might think of Poodle mostly as just a language tool, but actually, and with these new different tiers, like the language package and the media package, you also show that Poodle has a really strong and very interesting media playback capabilities. And I think that is something that's very interesting for our audience. We constantly have clients who are interested in a video solution that plays along nicely with Moodle, that doesn't take away all of the storage, for example. So the cloud hosting is also a great attractive. And what you mentioned about having not just the regular player that's just generic, but a variety of tools that are educationally, educationally conceived, so to speak.
Right. Definitely, yeah. That's right. I think the media players is something we it gets missed actually, but most of the media players that are available, even in Moodle, are designed for watching movies. They're not really designed for teaching languages with. They don't have speed controls, interactive subtitles. They don't have many of the features that something like Camtasia or not Camtasia, Coursera or edX or something has, which we should have in Moodle.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that brings me to one of our questions from the audience. You still, by the way, you're live on YouTube or Facebook. Send us your questions. This is from Catherine Alimboyom. Can Poodle be integrated with other LMS outside of Moodle?
Good question. Yes, actually, even as we speak, we are working on our LTI integration for other platforms. So the LTI integration that we have works for the Poodle languages plugins, the Poodle Solo, Poodle Word Cards, Poodle Read Aloud, Poodle Mini Lesson. It also works with the audio and video recording assignment for Moodle. We have a way of getting audio and video recording assignments into LTI. So if you are a user of Canvas or Schoology or Brightspace or any of those other LMSs, although you won't see LTI on the website right now, you probably will in a week or two. So just send me a little message. My email is there, and I'd be very happy to set you up to use LTI, even as a beta user for a while. We need a little bit of users testing it. Okay,
excellent. But correct me if I'm wrong, and of course we want good tools to be in the hands of everyone, but it's usually the case that when the solution is in Moodle, it's more powerful, has more capability, it gathers more information about students.
Yeah, well, LTI, for those who are not familiar with LTI, it's a way of embedding an activity into a different platform. So you don't have the deep integration that you have in Moodle. So in Moodle, we can, for example, check that a student has completed the activity and give them a check mark, which is something that we can't do on an outside LMS, something like Canvas. That would have to be done from within Canvas. Grading, some of the fine-grained grading things that we can do in Moodle are not necessarily going to be available on the different platforms. Export to portfolios, which we can do in Moodle, may not be available on the other platforms. So there are features that a native integration can offer that an LTI-based integration cannot offer. However, that being said, most of the other LMSs don't have the ability to write plugins in the way that Moodle does. So they don't actually, they're not missing much because there's nothing else actually can do that.
Yes, but we still want to send a message that we think Moodle is the best LMS there is.
There it is. So certified integration, yes. Well, the goal, Christian, is always to help teachers. That's kind of our focal point, really. So we have a number of teachers who love Moodle and Poodle, and then they had to go to Canvas because their school went to Canvas. So the more we can help teachers, that's the goal, really.
Yeah, absolutely. And I believe that there are some examples where using LTI, an organization can just have their own, like a focused language academy, creating only Poodle activities on a Moodle site, and using LTI, users from other LMS, they could just grab the activities that they have already made, right? That is. I
think that's our LTI integration could work like that. Yeah, if that was the use case, yeah. It is possible, they'd set them up with a course, and then students or teachers would create their own course in Moodle, and then connect that to their non-Moodle LMS, and then the users from their LMS could just log in. They go straight into the Moodle site, complete the activities and the grades get passed back. So for the students, it's a very, very seamless experience. Teachers, you have to do a little bit of setting up.
Yes, but it is possible. And related to that, one question we got is, could you create question banks of Poodle activities, like reuse them for later courses, or?
Currently, that's not a feature. So if you wanted to do something like that, you probably need to create courses with your Moodle activities in them, your Poodle activities in them, and then restore those courses or export the courses to the new course, to the target course. So there's no content bank integration currently. Good idea though.
Yeah. We have another question from Susan Meiki. Can Poodle interface be shown in Japanese or any other language?
Yes, it can. So it's a native Moodle plugin, or native Moodle plugins. So if you turn the site into Japanese or into Spanish, then those parts of the language pack that have been translated into Spanish or into Japanese will be displayed alongside Poodle. So we don't actually translate languages ourselves, but there are volunteers who nicely, in the language packs that they create for Moodle, they also translate the main strings that are available in the Poodle plugins. So things like read aloud and the audio and the video recording assignment submissions, they will display in different languages, provided a language pack maintainer has worked on the Poodle plugins.
Okay. Yes, excellent. I think there's also something to be said about how it can help accessibility, a tool like Poodle, with tools, with features like the automated captioning, transcripts, and so on. I think that's important to highlight.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. So it can be used to help, to help satisfy your accessibility requirements, because we do have text-to-speech, and I didn't show the features of text-to-speech in much detail, but using the widgets system, we can create text-to-speech widgets which can be placed around the site so that a student could select a piece of text and then click on the text-to-speech widget, and it would play the audio, would read the audio to them. We don't have all the features that you would need for an accessibility suite. We can just be helpful. So that's why we don't talk too much about it as the complete solution for accessibility, because although it does some really good things that will help users with those requirements, we're perhaps not a dedicated tool like something like Blackboard Ally is a dedicated tool for accessibility. But certainly, notably in Canada, people are using Poodle for that purpose.
Yes, excellent. But yeah, for example, you're creating a description of a course. It's very easy to just get that same course and add a player that plays the transcript, right?
Right, yes. Yep. So you can mark up text or put players or blocks. If that's something that you'd like to do, get in touch with me and I'll walk you through some of the ways it can be done.
Okay. So speaking of which, I think that's our last question of the morning. How do you get started? How do you avail it? How much does it cost? How do we get started with Poodle?
Right. So the way to get started with Poodle is to visit the Poodle.com site and take out a free trial. It does cost money, unfortunately. Let me pull that screen up for us here.
So you should start with a tutorial, right?
Start with a free trial, because we'll need an account to connect to all of your activities to. So any of these pages here will actually take you to a location where you can take the free trial. So if we scroll to the bottom of the screen here, you put the free trial button here. So this is where you'll start your free trial. Very easy to get started. Once you go through, you enter your Moodle URL, it'll give you an API user and secret. It's like two little secret keys. When you install any of the Poodle plugins from Moodle.org, They're all available on Moodle.org. You just install them as you would install any other plugin. You just enter that API user and secret, and everything will happen. You'll be able to use Poodle right away. We have a support site, support.poodle.com, and at support.poodle.com, you can see a list of the various plugins. But the easiest way is actually to go to Moodle.org plugins and just type Poodle in. I'll show you what I mean by that.
I'm sorry, we are showing my screen. But is it support.com?
In fact, just, and Kristen, why don't you go to Moodle.org plugins, Moodle.org/plugins. And here, if you just type in Poodle into the search box, you'll see a big list of all the plugins. And if you have your API user in secret, then you would just choose the plugins that you need from the list that shows, and then you're away.
Right. Yeah, so we have filter, recording, assignment submission, repository, Poodle anywhere. Yeah, and with the trial lets you install either of those.
Yeah, with the trial, you can install any of those. So I think the best thing to do to get started, if you're interested in Poodle languages, for example, perhaps you should install Mini Lesson and Read Aloud. If you're interested in audio and video recording, you should install Cloud Poodle for Atto or Cloud Poodle Assignment Submission. And those are kind of easy to get started with activities that give you a good idea of how to use Poodle.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, excellent. And of course, if you're a Nephila web customer, if you have your own Moodle LMS and you're looking to service it and interested in Poodle, you can of course contact us as Nephila Web to provide the integration, and we can take care of all of the little details of the integration.
That's right.
Yes. I also wanted to mention that if you join us in our Moodle Mood Philippines site, you will find our whole course. You will find some activities. We will continue to add more activities so you can update them. And as you complete the activities and mark the checkboxes, you will be earn the coins, the Moodle pesos, and you will see them reflected right away. So with Poodle, as well with the other sponsors and presenters, you will be able to collect these pesos. And then if you go to the store, you will see a list of rewards that we have been preparing. We are also updating them. You can play Poodle, try out, and then get a raffle for a chocolate cake, for example. And you can also do that, all of the activities that we have done previously. You just, when you log on and you check out the dashboard, you will be able to see all of the activities that we have already made for all of our previous presentations. And if you are competitive, you can check out the leaderboard and you can see how you stand up. So, I'm slightly ahead of Justin. I don't know if it's a fire in him that's going to make him push up. All right. So yeah, I hope you have fun and understand more about Poodle by joining us. And of course, check out the demo. And if you're more interested, you can email Justin. You can see the email on the screen, or just visit poodle.com. Any final words, Justin?
Just thank you very much for coming along. It's really good to have the opportunity to talk about Poodle and Moodle, and I hope things are going well for you in the COVID times. Anything we can do to help, please let us know. We've been helping a lot of schools, so that's something we'd like to do.
Excellent. Thanks to you. Thanks to you as well. Justin Hunt, founder, director of Poodle, Moodle Certified Integration for video and audio tools, speaking, practice, recording, and a lot more. Thank you so much. Please join us for future sessions and us on the Moodle Mood Philippines website. See you soon.